But here's the thing. I wanted to get into that because I'm glad you mentioned that as far as the value that you bring to renters. So I want to go into real quick. I want to go into the quick video about that bill that they're trying to pass because the main part of being a sales or a rental agent, the main part of it is obviously that when you rent an apartment, typically the renter pays the broker fee, correct? Most of the time.
So here's the thing. In certain areas where the demand is high.
Gotcha.
Okay, right. So it's really just contingent on that, right? And unfortunately, I talked to the New York Times and Spectrum. I did all this press last week, and they just used like one line because they had their minds made up, right? You know what I mean? I was like, all right, fine. But yeah, so in certain areas. So for example, right now on Street Easy, which is owned by Zillow, and that's whether you're looking for a $10 million apartment or a $10 apartment, everything's on Street Easy. So 95% of leads come through Street Easy on through Manhattan, right? The other 5% come through Zillow, which is like the same thing. So,
right.
So just to back up real quick, only in areas where there's such a demand, right? So, for example, if you have a good listing in the West Village or you're representing a really nice condo, right? But 55% of Street Easy right now, as I'm doing this interview on November 20th, is no fee, meaning the landlord pays when you go directly to. So that was always what was very confusing to me. So this gentleman who comes from extreme privilege, his dad is actually Combat Jack, Jay-Z's entertainment lawyer, right?
Got you.
Rockefeller's lawyer, right? This kid went to a $60,000 a year private school. He's wearing a $3,000 Tom Brown outfit, right? Tom Brown. It's like I looked at so like Bergdorf Goodman, and he's like, "I'm for the people." I'm like, he's gone to the Met Gala 2 years in a row.
Yeah, for the people, right? Yeah.
I've never met these socialists out of control. He's like a socialist, he says. I don't know. So it's like, okay, right? So he was like, no matter what, he's like, I want to end forced brokers' fees. Brokers' fees are not forced.
Right.
They are not forced. Now, I'll just give you a great example. I have a building in the West Village. If a studio is, let's just say $3,000 a month, right? There is a option at 600 Washington Street. It's no fee, but it's $3,500. So you could either pay a 1 month fee and get a $3,000 apartment, or you could not pay a fee, pay $3,500. No fee. So this guy is trying to pass this bill, saying that if I represent the landlord and you come to the listing, the landlord has to pay me no matter what.
Right.
Which is sort of like, okay, you're kind of like interfering with the free market. It's government overreach. But also now those same landlords will say, and they have already, by the way, to me, okay, now it's $3,400, no fee.
We're just gonna raise the rent, and see that's the whole thing.
We'll bake it into it.
Right now at 5:30, the battle over broker fees heats up.
Today, the city council voted to shift those hefty fees from tenants to whoever hires the broker. Supporters say this is only going to save renters thousands of dollars up front, but critics argue it's actually going to end up pushing rents up even higher. News 4's Rana Navini live at City Hall to break down both sides of this debate. Rana.
Again, Adam, New York is actually one of the only cities in the country to have this broker's fee policy, and today city council members voted to change that.
It's just pure logic. If you hire a service, you pay for it, period.
New Yorker Maggie Seitz is thrilled the city's broker fee policy is changing.
Which was adopted by a vote of 42 in the affirmative, 8 in the negative, and 0 abstentions.
Council members overwhelmingly voting to approve the FAIR Act. The bill will stop forcing renters to pay for brokers they didn't hire in order to lease an apartment. Usually, landlords hire a broker to list an apartment, then pass that fee on to the tenant. Now that will change, and Maggie says she can start apartment hunting again.
These landlords and these housing companies or whatever, these industries, they can afford to pay a broker fee.
And whoever hires a broker in the city of New York pays the broker fee.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
I think it is too.
Councilmember Chiosei championed the bill. According to city data, last year, the average New Yorker moving to a new apartment spent more than $10,000 in upfront costs.
When you add on security deposit, first month's rent, and a broker fee, our families are drowning.
Housing is a need. It is a right for people.
At what point Is everyone here going to realize that we're only going to make things worse?
Those against the bill argue it will end up hurting brokers and tenants. The Real Estate Board of New York tells News 4 the FAIR Act will make it harder for tenants to find housing, raise rents, and make the hard work of real estate agents even more difficult.
Okay, so when you look at the other cities that do this, that it's structured this way, there are other cities where housing is in demand, right? So, for example, Boston, the tenants pay the fee, right? So, and they also say housing is right, housing is a need. Sure. Brokers fees are not forced. Like I've been saying this, like you can go and look at no fee options, right? And it's just so strange. I mean, this the guy who's championing the bill is getting such great press and PR. Good for him, whatever. But take a step back. Just because a city council passes it doesn't mean it can't go to court, right?
Right.
So when it goes to court, which it hasn't gone yet. First of all, the mayor's against it, which is funny. It's like, wow, I finally agree with the mayor for the first time ever, right? But
no one wants to have tenants pay, what they shouldn't have to pay. But real estate agents do a lot of work.